Hello, everyone. Welcome to Michelle's Inspiration Hour podcast. I am here to fuel your creativity, ignite inspiration in every episode. Today's featured guest, Joseph, is a game changer for individuals, business owners, and realtors, helping them become unstoppable. That is the word, unstoppable. With appearances on Fox, CBS, and NBC, and recognition as a top business coach, Joey's expertise shines. He's pioneered the SMT Method, which stands for Subconscious Mindset Training, over 3 decades, guiding countless people to success by rewiring their subconscious minds. Join us to unlock the path to your dreams as we dive deep into Joy's wisdom and uncover how to truly become unstoppable. I know I am absolutely ready to learn about how to become unstoppable. All right, let's bring them on. How are you?
I'm great, Michelle. It's awesome to be here with you. What an honor.
Well, I feel, awesome. I'm ready for this conversation and I'm ready to learn because I always love, okay, so you created this program and I always love to see how your inspiration came from creating this program. So let's talk first about that. Kind of tell us, why did you create this for everybody?
Yeah, you mentioned that in the intro, which was awesome. But I grew up in a very low income blue collar family outside Detroit, Michigan. And I watched my parents beat themselves up and struggle in their relationship and struggle just kind of make ends meet and stuff. And even as a young child, I thought, man, you guys aren't doing it right. I don't know what you're doing wrong, but you're not doing it right. And I'm not going to be like you guys. And I remember I went through my whole teens like that. And then in my 20s, I found myself struggling regardless of what my income was. I had taken that step into corporate America because of conditioning that a man gets a job and supports a family, and so I stepped into that even though that wasn't my desires. And I found myself, if something came really easy to me, I felt like I didn't deserve it or I didn't work hard enough for it. And that was the conditioning I was based on. And at 22 years old, I heard a speaker. His name was Jack Boland, and he's passed away. And I don't remember what he said, Michelle, but I remember it lit this thing up inside of me that I knew in that moment that I wanted to spend my life inspiring, motivating, and leading people to live better lives. But I couldn't even do that in my own life. For me. So I became a student of the works that I do today. And for almost 3 decades now, I've been a continuous student of this and learning this process and learning. And so I went through a lot of things like The Secret and positive thinking. And, I was probably the most positive person I knew for years in my life, but it would never lead to any of the results of the things that I truly desired in my heart. And so as I went forward, and then later, and I struggled with that for years, probably 7, 8, almost 10 years, struggled with that, trying to think my way into the life I wanted. And I just found myself growing up the corporate ladder with each step up that rung caused me more pain inside because it wasn't my passion. And I got confused for a long time because I was good at it, but it's not what I wanted to do. And then later on, my mom passed away, or my dad passed away, and then a year later my mom just didn't want to be alive without him. And so she passed away of natural causes, and within a year I found myself, a little over a year, I found myself an orphan. And I'm still living in this corporate life that I didn't want, and I didn't feel fulfilled and such, but it had good money and I was good at what I did. But I was like, why am I still doing this? And I had already had multiple certifications. I've been through coaching. I've been through programs, like everything I could possibly do. I've created like my whole life as experiment after experiment that I do things with, and I still do. And I came across the subconscious mind and how that operates and how it absorbs what's in our conscious mind, which said the positive thinking was important, but then how the subconscious mind holds all of our programs and our beliefs and our patterns, and all of that's in the subconscious. And later on, I found out the subconscious is what triggers the brain waves to the actions we take or don't take. So after I understood that, within a month, I started up the IFGT organization, which it stands for It's Frickin' Go Time.
Oh,
And within 3 months of there, I resigned as a vice president of sales from corporate America and stepped out, moved down to the mountains in South Carolina. And I've been building
mhm.
this business and growing it, and truly in what I believe is my wheelhouse for the life and living my passion and
Wow.
helping other
Yeah.
people.
You are definitely the model because, as I was reading all about you, I thought, my goodness, and what you just explained, it's my life as well.
Ah,
Okay. So, so I grew up with a family that, struggled financially. My dad
mhm.
worked, constantly. He was always gone. And then I grew up thinking, okay, I'm going to be independent. I'm going to work. I'm going to help with the money situation. Of course, I wasn't in the business world. I was in education. So I
Okay.
wasn't, but it was stable and, I had money coming in. I knew when the money was coming in, but I wasn't happy.
Yeah.
And if you saw my resume, I mean, my husband laughs at me all the time. It's like every 4 years, I changed either schools or
Mhm.
I changed what I was doing or a grade level. It was like I was searching.
Yeah.
And then I went back to school 3 different times, okay, and got 3 different degrees in education trying to
Wow.
find happiness.
Yes. Yes.
And like you said, it's a stability. That's kind of what I learned that and my mother, because she got divorced, she said, "You will be independent." And so I had that, belief in my mind, and I just was not happy. And finally, okay, right before COVID, all right, and I was in my 50s, I said, I think, honey, I need to do something that I am passionate about. I want to
Mm.
really help other people. I want to become a
Yes.
spiritual advisor. And he goes, absolutely. And, even though, like you said, I was really good in education, it wasn't really fulfilling me in my soul. So, and so to me, you are a model of, yes, I created this wonderful program and created my own life the way that I want it to be. Now, let's talk about the model that you created.
Yes.
And I love talking about the conscious and the subconscious mind. And I also love that you brought up The Secret because I was also one of those people that read The Secret. I thought, oh, this is going to help me.
Yes. Yes.
It did not. I mean, I love the concept. I love, where it goes. But it's in my bookshelf. It's getting dust now. So tell me, kind of dive more into The Secret because a lot of my listeners probably have read The Secret. So
Yes.
tell me what your program does differently than The Secret. Kind of be more specific in that
Absolutely.
area.
And one of the things with The Secret is like I had bought the VHS because I'm that old,
Mhm.
and I
Yeah.
bought a book, and I actually found at one point a workbook. So I really, when I say I dive, I've my whole life I've dove into this part of things. Like I mean it. Like it was everything. I would come home from work. I would skip work to sit home and study more stuff on all this. So I've been a
Right.
real, the best ability I've been able to. And later on, I found out how powerful The Secret is. But what's missing in so much of this stuff is the application. It's all too often taught as a one size fit all,
Mm.
right? When you watch The
Right.
Secret, you do what I do, and we both get this
That's true.
miraculous improvements and increase and prosperity and everything else in our life. But it's not like that. And the reason being is because our subconscious conditioning. So we got the conscious mind, and this
Okay.
is what the whole entire SMT method is built on. We have the conscious mind, which is the words we use, the thoughts we entertain, who we hang out with, what we read, all of that stuff's in the conscious mind. We have control over the conscious mind. Also, in the conscious mind is our knowing that we know what we desire. And then we have the subconscious, which absorbs whatever's in the conscious mind. But what's not talked about a lot is there's this what I call a motherboard in the subconscious that holds all of our experiences, all of our beliefs, everything we've been taught, everything that's been modeled for us, all everything we've heard from people. I mean, so many people live on conditioning of what people told them that they've never even experienced in their own life. But somebody told them that and it had an impact and it stuck in there. And the subconscious mind, first off, is that voice we hear in our head, right? When we want to do something and we start hearing that voice of, oh, who do you think you are? How are you going to do that? That's that voice of the subconscious that so often we follow. But within there, the subconscious, that motherboard, triggers our brain waves to determine the actions we take and we don't take. So if you have somebody coming from fear, doubt, and worry, then that programming is going to kick out anything. When you want to do something new, it's going to tell you all the reasons why you shouldn't, or all the things to watch out for, or all the reasons, why you can't ultimately, right? And within that subconscious is the doing part, because it triggers the brain waves. So now we have our knowing in the conscious mind, the doing in the subconscious mind, and because of the conditioning, we have a disconnect. So we have a gap between the knowing and doing. What the SMT method does, and does really well and really quickly, what took me years to figure out, my clients achieve in weeks now. But what it does is it helps us to identify, and it's geared to identifying that programming in the subconscious that's working against us, so that we can then quickly shift that programming, get it into alignment, and start closing that knowing doing gap. So one of the things I tell people is you start achieving greater results with less effort. And it's because we've closed that up, so there's more alignment. Our subconscious mind, we don't have to do all the battling against the conditioning. We've shifted that and put new programming in place of it, so that now it's in alignment when we want to do something. An example of this is it was last October. I took my first run off of a 2,000-foot mountaintop with a hang glider. Now, I thought I was afraid of heights. Wow. What I've learned through that process is I'm afraid of falling. I'm not afraid of being up high. So my first launch, when I stood 3 steps away from this crest, and on this ramp, I'm sorry. And I'm holding and I'm strapped into this hang glider, and they said, okay, whenever you're ready. There's part of me that wanted to go, no, don't, but I know I've been through the training. I know all the things that subconscious has been programmed to the point where the fear doesn't have to determine the outcome of my life anymore. And so I could take a breath and remember the training, remember everything I know and everything, and go, I'm okay. And all it takes is that first step to end up launching off a 2,000-foot mountaintop.
Wow. Good for you. Oh my gosh.
And it shows up the same way with people, whether it be relationships, whether it be, the life after loss, whether it be divorce or passing or things like that. It can be, one of the areas where I focus is with business owners. Right. So often for business owners to hear that you can get growth like from, $300,000 to $1 million to $3 million and do it in less than a year, it's unrealistic. So when we hear something that's unrealistic, that conditioning starts stepping up and go, not real, and we start following that. But I have clients people could call and talk to who would tell them they achieved that. I have realtors I've worked with that of their highest year in 13 years of business was $7.5 million. And the year we worked together, they almost toppled over $23 million. Wow. It's not realistic that that's even possible. So what happens is our subconscious mind will not allow us to absorb that in there. And it just says, no way. And then we discard it. And it's happened. And I'm using that as a scenario, Michelle. But It happens in so many areas of our life where we don't open ourselves to the potential because of that conditioning. And so I love that I get to help people identify and shift that conditioning. And all of a sudden, things that are unrealistic, the person that I helped, the business owner I helped go from $300,000 to $3 million a year. Right. He could not fathom the possibility of that when we started. Today, he wants to go to 1 million, or he wants to go to $1 million a month in his business. And he can see that because it's only unrealistic until we first achieve it. When you hear all these things about like the marathons and people break records and set new records when the fastest speed was, 5 minutes or something, and somebody brought it down to 3. Before that, everybody tell you it was impossible. Until it's achieved. And then once it's achieved, it's no longer unrealistic. But we so often cut ourselves short of
Mhm.
opening up those avenues.
Hi, if you are being inspired by this episode, please share with somebody that will also be inspired. We are here to change the world. All right, let's get back to the conversation. Absolutely. And I always think about, and I don't know why this just came to mind, but it's
Yeah.
almost like in the 60s, whenever we went to the moon, people didn't think that was possible. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? So, or aliens. I don't know which way to go on that one, but we didn't ever think we'd find out about anything. So it's so interesting that things shape that way. You're right. If we think that we cannot get there, then that's where our mind blocks it, you know?
Henry Ford,
Yeah.
he said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are correct.
Right.
What the SMT method does really, really well is it
Mhm.
helps people to identify what are those things that we're saying I can't to,
Right.
and identifying where it's coming from in the conditioning so that we can shift that then and move forward. And we really don't have to go back like, old school therapies where you go back, take skeletons out of the closet and you go through them all, all of that stuff.
Mhm.
All I've been able to help almost 1,000 clients over the past decade.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
all I need is 2 points of reference. I need to
Mhm.
know, where are you right now? What's going on? Where's the discontent? Where's the areas where you're not achieving what you want to, or where you're struggling, whatever you want to define it
Mhm.
as. And then I help them develop what I call a dynamic vision for where they want to be. From those 2 points, I've seen person after person after person scale and move to that other side.
Awesome.
It's literally even worked in organizations in millions and millions of dollar organizations that were in bankruptcy to get back into profitability in less than a year.
Right. Wow. Okay. So thinking about vision, what do you think about vision boards? Because, that used to
I'm,
be a big thing. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and I've done vision boards
Mhm.
myself.
Yeah. Right.
What I found is a vision board. So we'll have a thought of something we want, right? And that's
Mhm.
one level. And then, like if we read it, if we write it, we do things like that and stuff with it. A vision board gives us that image of it.
Right.
What I've done is taken all of the tools that I use for vision and everything else and built
Mhm.
all of this stuff into it. So instead of a vision board where you can look at it on a wall, which I'm not, I think those are great to have and
Right.
do. And I've actually done some workshops where we do vision boarding and then we go into the workshop and such. So,
Right.
but it's one aspect of it. But what I have found is when we can write out our vision, when we speak that vision, when we write it and then we read it. I have my clients take their vision and abbreviate it and act like they got to pay $1,000 for every word to really get it down to a PowerPoint, a power punch impact. And
Right.
then we put that and now have them record that on their phone so they can hear themselves speaking their vision. When we put that vision on is
Mhm.
what makes all the difference. So you could have a vision board and you can see it and go away and see it and go away, or you can have that vision board and you can look at it and you can imagine yourself in that place. How was it going to feel to be in that vision board, and then
Mhm.
what's it going to look like, the imagery of it and stuff, to be living that life.
Right.
That's where the power of a vision board comes out, and I do that through a written vision,
Oh,
dynamic
okay.
vision, and I have
Okay.
road mapping tools we follow to do that.
And I think that's where a lot of people get stuck. They think,
How do you
"Oh, I
mean?
can just look," because I think they do a vision board, they look at it, but they don't do the rest of the stuff that you were talking about. They just vision it and think, "Okay, I'm gonna do that." And they don't vision themselves being there, they don't take action. And
Yes.
and I think that's where a lot of people also get frustrated. It's like, "Well, if I look at it, it's gonna manifest." But it's not. You gotta take action into it, like exactly what you're saying.
It is, and,
Yeah.
and and it's really through. We have two PowerPoint systems built into every one of us, and it works. They both work perfectly.
Mhm.
Our imagination,
Right.
but our conditioning so often, and so many people I come across have gone through life where, as we're going through school and as we're going through life, we're taught to shut that down because it's not living realistically,
Mhm.
right? I
Right.
remember even being in school and them going, Joey, quit looking out the window. Joey, pay attention. Joey,
That's
read
true.
your book. Do your math
Right.
work, whatever it is. But that imagination
Hmm.
is so powerful. That is the realm of possibilities for all the things that we desire to give housing to that, to start into it. Without that, we're just living based on our situations, circumstances, and conditions that
Right.
happen, that pop up in our life. And we become reactionary to those. And one of the best ways I can define this, Michelle, is we're either pushed by our pain,
Hmm.
things
That's good.
happening, forcing us to bring about change, or
Hmm.
we can be pulled by a vision into that life of the things that we really desire.
Hmm.
And once we understand that, then we have a choice. One of the reasons I'm so passionate about what I do, because my mom and dad were such good people, and there were five of us. They had five kids and stuff, and they were such good people, and they didn't know about these tools,
Right.
so they didn't have another way to go about it other than through struggle.
Yeah.
And part of my mission of my life is to help every person I possibly can to understand that they have other options available to them.
Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it, Joy. So I'm so glad. And, that it's so interesting that we do have, like you said, experiences to get us going in the right direction. We make those choices along the way. You can either
Yeah.
break that cycle or you can continue in your own world, create your own world type thing. So let me tell you this. Oh, well, before I go on, is there anything that we did not talk about your program that you want to make sure you do?
The only thing I'd like to say is I
Yeah.
haven't because I do personal I mean, everything is personal transformation, right? Helping a business or a realtor go from 7.5 to $23 million, there's that change, but it's all based on personal transformation. So I have the program organized in different ways, from a 12-week to a 6-month to a 1 year. So it's really set up to fit for the individual. And one of the places where I differ from normal like what's become standard coaching in a lot of arenas today, especially business development, is I don't have your success plan. I don't have anybody's success plan for them. What I have is the tools to help the person I'm working with define that success plan. And then I have additional tools like developing systems of accelerating habits and things like that to help, to be able to do perception shifting and things like that, to be able to bring that vision to life quicker than any other method that I know of. But I'm not the guy that says, here's what you're going to do, and now I'm just going to force you to do it or push you to do it all and everything. I've been through
Yeah.
those programs,
Right.
and I walked away at the end feeling like there was something wrong with me, and it really turned me off to coaching for a while. And so I wanted to make sure whatever I do, it's based toward the individual I'm working with. And it's not up to the individual I'm working with to get their results. They got to do their part, of course,
Right.
but it's
Right.
up to me and the programs I
Yeah.
develop to bring that transformation about, to bring about that new life.
All right. Absolutely love it. And I know my listeners are really going to say, okay, I'm in, I'm in, I want to do it. Because when you talk about time too, it kind of gives you, guidance within that amount of time. And I think that's awesome, where you're not saying you're going to be fixed within 24 hours. We've got time to work through, and it does take time with everything. What inspiration, no, overall inspiration, okay, that a life inspiration that you can give somebody that says, you know what, I love this program, I love everything, but what inspiration can you give somebody? Just anything that inspired you, maybe a phrase or just some advice.
You know, there's been so much. God, I'm thinking about picking one thing.
I know it's hard.
There's times when I'll sit and it'll put me into tears when I think about this kid growing up in this poor family in Detroit to where I'm at today and getting to have the impact and serving people the way I do. It's not realistic. It's unrealistic that I came from where I was, or that I would be in front of a worldwide convention conference delivering a talk to 300 and some ministers on prosperity. But it's happened. That we are capable of so much more. And one of the things I'll tell you that a quote I really enjoy, and I never say it the right way, but from Marianne Williamson. And she says, Being powerless is not our big fear. Our real fear is how powerful we really are. And that's what I want to spread the message and help people realize about themselves. Because at that point, when that happens, that's when the entire world starts making a shift based on the people in it changing.
Love it. Love it. And it starts with you.
Yes, it does.
That is awesome. Okay. Are you ready for the last question?
Yes, I am.
All right. Let's bring on the wheel. I'm
Ready
going to
as I
call
can be.
I'm going to call it the inspiration wheel or something because, it needs
All
a
right.
name. Okay. Let's spin it.
Yep.
I know it comes with sound too. Isn't it amazing? Oh,
Oh,
okay. Now this is great. This is perfect for a coach. All right. So where do you see yourself in 5 years from now?
5 years from now,
Uh-huh.
I
5
will
years from now.
have operational of Life Ignited Institute, which is a method that I have set up and ready to launch. Just building the finances to launch it the right way, to certify other coaches in the programs that I've created and developed as a way to spread the impact of what my works can have in this world.
Mhm.
And not only will we certify other coaches in it, but we're going to set it up in a way, and I don't think anybody's doing this right now, where we will find clients for our certified coaches. We'll
Oh,
send them clients. So you have so many really good coaches right now who are not into marketing. They're not into building a business or business development, but they love coaching. We'll be able to serve those people
oh.
and have the best of the best coaches on as part of the organization.
Yeah, that is great. That is a great step to have because, yeah, there are a lot of people that go into, like you said, coaching and they don't know how to get started or hold on to those
Yes.
clients or whatever. So that is wonderful. Okay,
Yeah.
where can everybody reach you?
The easiest way anybody, I mean, any social media, any of that stuff, but if you
Mhm.
if you interested in this conversation, you have questions, even if you think it's BS in this conversation, I'd love to hear about it. And you can schedule a call with me at coachwithjoey.com. And anybody can schedule a call with me there. We'll get on the phone with me, not somebody else. We'll get on the phone and we'll talk about stuff in this episode. We'll talk about where you're at. And the whole purpose of that is to serve. So if you're struggling with something, if you're stuck in something, if things like The Secret that we started out talking about are happening for you, schedule a 15-minute call. Let's get on the phone, talk about it, and at least get some ideas of things you can do to start shifting that.
And I think it really helps with the guidance because a lot of people just need, how can I get started? They need that momentum to get started. And
Yeah,
that sounds
even
like,
help with
yeah.
that initial step.
Mhm.
Absolutely, Michelle. I'm sorry.
No, no,
Yes.
absolutely not. And that's where I see where your program does is it kind of gives you the momentum to get started. And like you said,
Yes.
the rewiring of whenever we think of rewiring, I think of a robot almost, but it almost is, that we're rewiring our belief system.
Yeah, we're literally rewiring our brain stems. We're
Yeah.
rewiring our yeah. And so in doing that, we start looking at things differently. I'll tell you this really quick, is
Oh,
our
yeah.
whole life, the reality of our life is make believe because it's based on our perceptions.
Mhm.
So what SMT does is give somebody a process to quickly and easily shift that perception to align with and start bringing about that life and the things in that life that you really desire, rather than why you can't. We
Right.
start experimenting the living in.
Love it. Well, thank you,
Yeah.
Joey, so much for your expertise and your passion. I mean, you can tell that you are just so passionate about what you do. So, congratulations on finding, what works for you and sharing it with the world. I mean, you could go, I'm going to be selfish and not share it, but we appreciate you. All right, I'm going to leave everybody with that one word, unstoppable. You want to say that?
Yes.
I want you to say it since that is your word.
Yes. Unstoppable.
There we go.